and the crowd goes silent, and I was like, she said they're fucking dogs.
Yeah, Petra or Giuliano.
One.
No.
It's one.
Petra.
It's not MVPs. It's MVP. It's singular.
Okay.
Breaking.
got
Original
fucking-
reason why Shopify lost.
He did the middle finger thing, and then some other stuff happened backstage.
Skip me. Go to Tanner. I already picked.
Yeah, I would have picked Tanner first anyway. Tanner.
Flowerful.
Oh my God, bro.
Flowerful.
Welcome, Jess, and welcome, Anders. Nice to have you back on. I brought my kid to work today. Vansilli, please don't disturb them. And talking about it, we talked to you, Anders, already. Jess, how are you feeling after Berlin?
I mean, I lost my voice a little bit, so if I sound a little funky, it's because I'm screaming, clapping, doing all of those things.
Cheering for Shopify.
Well, no. I have to admit that pretty honestly, because everyone there saw me, going for everyone else. But Zaz behind me lost her voice completely, so I do feel blessed that I still have something to be here with today. So yeah, no, it was an amazing event.
Fair. You know what? We're starting from excitement to surprises to underdogs. We're starting with obviously Cloud9 winning that one, and it for me as an EMEA fan and someone who was looking a little bit in the EMEA Game Changers, am I surprised? No. Fellow shout out to our friends, by the way, from Plat Chat for making a tier list that absolutely was scrambled and didn't really have anyone in the actual position it was. That looks amazing. Crew as second. Yeah, come on, say it,
Bro,
say it.
I actually still love that everybody took this ranking to the heart. Because
Of course, I'm joking.
No. But even there was G2 Gozen players or Shopify Rebellion players tweeting out like, oh yeah, like number 5th and number 6 seed playing grand finals tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious. I fucking love
I know.
it. I fucking loved
They
it.
did get Fennel Hotel Lava correct as the 8th
I was
seed.
gonna say the 7th, 8th they
That was a set one. But let's talk about the team we want to talk about. G2 Gozen. And I'm starting with EMEA representation. How surprised / not surprised were you just that this went exactly the way that we always fought?
I mean, I always go back to like how much experience, the core of the girls have. Like, I don't know, what have I got? 7 years in FPS myself. They've got double, triple that, individually. So it's like, if I had that, I would hope I have, not just the mental strength and resistance to be able to go through what they went through in the grand finals. And then obviously all of the games before. I mean, Giuliano never cracks a smile mid, to late game, unless something crazy goes on. She's in her element the entire time. So I think G2 and the representation, I expected them to make finals. I didn't know the outcome, but I did expect them to make grand finals, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it? You're not going to have a discussion? I thought, why do we have 3 North Americans here?
Is no one else going to bat back? Be like,
I
yo,
was like-
I was on the power rankings, whole thing, and I was like, they're going to be shit. They're just overhyped pieces of shit. It's like,
I just wanted to say, what is that?
Yeah.
if anyone had them not making it to at least finals, they're just trolling. Like that
Yeah.
that would have just
Literally trolling.
full grief if you don't have them making at least the finals. So
I had them losing in lowers to Team Liquid. Team Liquid, Cloud9, and G2
Yeah, that makes
were
sense.
my
That makes
top
sense.
3.
I just can't. We should have kicked you out. Actually, there's a moment in the crowd where, what did you say, Tanner? Everything went quiet for a split second. The screen, the audience, it was really bad timing. Like awful timing.
It was when Shopify was playing Cloud9, and I think it was like map 1, and Flowerful got like a 4K on B side or something. And in her player cam, she's like looking around. She's like, they're fucking dog shit. They're fucking dog shit.
And it was clear.
The people I was working with didn't hear it. So they're like yelling at me from like 5 seats over, like, Tanner, what did she say? What did she say? And I lean over and I'm trying to talk over the crowd, and the crowd goes silent. And I was like, she said they're fucking dog shit. Dude, the crowd, like echoes through the whole place.
The whole audience just flicks their neck around to see.
Even the
It's just
players,
Tanner.
they had noise canceling headset and somehow still heard Tanner, and everybody looked in that vicinity.
Dude, yeah, that
It was so good, and everyone lost it. That was good. But yeah.
Yeah,
it was a good start.
interesting.
At least
Okay,
Ene
look
was
at-
still on top in that match. At least Ene was still on top in that match.
I mean, for a moment.
Listen, I think
Well.
so. Cloud9, they like flopped pretty hard. I think honestly, God, if Cloud9 would have beat Shopify Rebellion, Cloud9 would have won the whole thing. I think if Cloud9 beat Shopify, Cloud9 would have won the whole thing.
That was my pred before the event. I literally had C9 going to lowers against G2. I said that on the last episode of Valoranting I was on, and then I had C9 still winning the whole event. So I truly believe that if they had gotten past Shopify, they make finals and they probably win it.
So what happened to Cloud9 then? What happened to Cloud9 versus Shopify?
So,
why did they lose?
I thought about this a lot, and there's a lot of narratives that you could like poke and prod into this situation. I think that there are some that have more merit than others. I think one of the first things that I like came up against is like, oh, C9 just like expected to win, so they didn't take it seriously. I think that's a bullshit narrative. I think that a lot of people are gonna immediately go to that, and I think that that's absolutely trash. I think that you need to put credit on the other side of that equation, and I don't think it's that C9 didn't want to win as much as Shopify. I think it's that Shopify felt they had more to prove than C9 did. They had a chip on their shoulder that C9 simply did not have. That is a difference maker in a match of this stakes. I think the other narrative that you really want to hone in on is that regional rivals have non-trivial advantages. Like, that is, honestly, I genuinely believe Shopify is a harder matchup for C9 than G2 would have been.
Yeah.
Simply because they have played each other so much and know each other so intimately that there is nothing C9 can really do to surprise them.
Yep. I agree with you. I kind of feel it's almost like a Fnatic versus FPX at some point, right? Where FPX finally has their number on LAN. Yeah. Because like you play against each other for so many times during the main challenger stage. You know how they play. Now it's a great opportunity to get that high during LAN and to prove them wrong, and you actually did it. But I also think that this series overall between Cloud9 and Shopify on that third map, they, at some point for me, it felt like C9 were playing not to lose. There was a little, I actually maybe felt a little bit of nervousness in the in the third map. I don't want to name any names because I don't want to give them that much pressure into what we were seeing, but like the rotations weren't the best, unfortunately, on C9 based on the information that they were getting. The calls around how you wanted to pivot around the information you got weren't the best either. And I don't think it's like a real. I think it's still a good excuse to like when Mel had the interview at the losing interview. By the way, props to Mel to be able to do a fucking losing interview on that stage after getting eliminated by Shopify Rebellion. But she did mention it, like they weren't playing themselves. They felt a little bit off. They were a little bit shook. And to be honest, that's what I saw on this map on Icebox. Again, maybe for me, it maybe would have felt that it was like a confident pick to let that float between this series against Shopify because they again, it's usually an insta ban for C9 throughout all of the game changers, except for the grand finals versus Shopify where they won, I think, like 13-7. So it's like, hey, we got this in the bag. It's gonna be super easy. But then again, they were playing not to lose in this third map, and Shopify Rebellion took advantage of that. SR played fucking aggressive all tournament, and that's what I fucking love from watching Shopify Rebellion play on their first time playing on stage with such a young roster.
That's what I think the difference was in the end.
Yep.
Like, I think if you like, and I loved that game, and probably out of the fact that I thought it was like Shopify fighting their demons. Like, you know, you got a revenge arc and all those beautiful like storylines. You're like, this is great. But then if you go down to like from like a micro level, C9 won barely any pistols. They won barely any half buys. They won barely any fucking like anything that they didn't have a full buy with. They could not put fucking 2 and 2 together. Every single map, round after round after round, where they didn't have a full buy, it was tumultuous territory for them. So I think that Shopify recognized that. They used their aggression. They used what I call wolf packing, and they just overwhelmed C9 time and time again. I think that you have a team where you can't lock down, like you think about map 2 with the Neon. I don't even think she was top fragging, but the amount of map control and damage she was doing as a result, C9 White looked like they did look rather awful in a lot of those rounds. So I think that, you look at pistols. I mean, people say they're not important. You look at half buys. You look at round twos. Man. How many round twos they lost? That's so stupid. You should not be losing that many, in my opinion, when you're C9 White. Like, you come in, those should be like the fundamentals. It's the full buy versus full buy where you're like having trouble, not those previous rounds. So I think they bit the bullet and they didn't deserve to win.
Right, and getting from that, because I wanted to first, before we go a little bit of Cloud9 White, I want to first emphasize a little bit on Shopify Rebellion, because to be frank, right, I think that there was partly a lot of people who would have said Shopify Rebellion is going to the grand final, to be frank, right? And it felt a lot like, even though they got dropped down earlier, I think it was against Liquid that they have been dropped down a lower bracket, that they were actually looking quiet, saw overall in that lower bracket run. And I think one argument that you guys made was this being, somewhat inexperienced, somewhat young roster in comparison, for example, to some of the other teams, really making that deep of a run. And I think that was the most impressive aspect of that team, that it seems to be this underdog story, coming true.
Yeah. Because even then they had great, like their young fraggers, Flowerful and Sonder, really fucking, they had an amazing tournament in my eyes.
Hold
Right.
on. Are we not going to give Lori credit right now? Like,
yes, let's give Lori some as well. I forgot about her.
I know she's
too,
not
but...
a duelist, but she is literally the second highest impact fragger on that roster behind Sonder, and the only reason she doesn't outpace Sonder is because of her role. Lori's fucking ridiculous.
So
You're right.
I love, and I tweeted this. I love Lori and Sonder. I think that the pressure really got to them, as like they have a lot of pressure. They have a lot to do on that team, and there were maps where they didn't perform the way that they would like to. And I think that that's okay, right? It's the first international tournament. You're going to have nerves. You're going to have jitters. Flowerful did not have that the entire tournament. If she may not have been top fragging, but every series she ended positive. And there are series in there, even against the loss against Liquid, she was the only positive player on her team in defeat. And dude, just a fucking rock. And then on top of that, you go back and you look at Breeze to lose, what was it, 13-4, 13-5, and she had 22 kills or 25 kills or something. And I talked to her afterwards, and she said, like, I was trying my best to just tell my team, like, put the fucking ball in my hands. Like, I'm going to make sure we win this shit. And unfortunately, it just didn't come to fruition. But Flowerful, I could not say enough good things, man. The consistency and how well she played for the entire tournament, shout out Flowerful, man.
Yeah,
she has.
I think that's hard to get a player who is that consistent. Like, she can frag out, she's really flashy with it, and most flashy players don't also get to hold the candle of being consistent. It's like, you could be flashy, you could be cool, you're like, get into a game and everyone's like, whoa, you're the best. And then you have a couple of quiet games and you flash up again. It's like, cool, that's those flashy players. But she did both, and I was like, shit, man. Like, if I'm ever in a server with her, I get out. Like, I'm forfeiting, it's done. Like, I can't go up against a player who is going to perform, and maybe she 180 you in the process as well. So you're a highlight reel for her. So I don't know. She was good. She was damn good.
Yeah.
I think the thing that stood out most to me is, like, she's what you actually want in a chamber player. She's not a chamber that's like taking jet peaks. She's a chamber that's playing chamber. She has a disproportionate amount of discipline for the amount of experience that she has. Like, she plays closer to a Yay than she does a CNET. And like that is a very unique element to have in a player as green as she is.
Look at these numbers. And like,
imagine having the highest ACS, highest ACS in the entire server, and you lost.
And like, and
those are rookie numbers. You
70%
gotta pump
cast
those up.
still. Like, yeah, dude, that's first kills for like 16 first kills, dude.
Make sure to subscribe to Valoranting, because they ask some pretty good questions, so you don't want to miss out on the answers.
We've talked enough about NA and Europe and all of that. I want to go to Team Liquid Brazil. Because very honestly, when we take a look at their run, losing the final two best of threes, that kind of sucks. But the way how far they pushed G2, having a 5-0 lead on Ascent, and basically looking like, okay, we might actually beat this team that is supposed to win that trophy, was already massive in my eyes.
Yeah, I think they fell to also a little bit of inexperience. Like, one of the things that I noticed the most on the stage was when teams had good energy all the time. Like, we heard from G2 afterwards, and them just saying, like, we were just all smiles. Like, we knew that there was always a chance to win. And I think that what I noticed from Team Liquid is sometimes, even in like the rounds that they win, like big kills from Bastarda and stuff, the energy just wasn't there. I feel like they were really down on themselves once they started to get down on the server.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty it. I think mental was a lot there. There was a couple of what do I call it, hero plays that a couple of the players tried to make. And because, like, I knew coming into this tournament, they're the Brazilian Gunners, right? Like, I was like, these are going to be some nasty players. They're all mechanically very apt. Like, I was like, this is going to be a really showy match. And then I felt like in, like, moments where they're like, especially when we're down and we're looking at a pinch economically throughout these rounds, players started, like, Bastardo, I don't think Bastardo was really, I think, like, Nachi won and stuff, but, like, you could just see they were trying to make the hero play, and it didn't need to be that. You know, and with experience and discipline and whatnot, you overcome those thoughts. You know, you really stop yourself and have the discipline not to overstep without the team. But I felt there were multiple times where they just overstepped. They tried to make the hero plays, and money got away from them, rounds got away from them. And I think there was a possibility that there's so much more to show, especially next year. I think give them a year and get that discipline, and there's going to be a way better roster of Team Liquid coming out.
Definitely. I agree with that too. I saw the same thing from like Nachi when I was watching their regional tournaments too, where like you kind of like overstep and you want to try to TP away, but you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna get this kill before. And it didn't happen as much actually on during the Game Changers, because they were playing a lot more maps where she plays less chamber, though. She was playing like some KO and some Cypher, and she looked really good in those roles too, to be honest. But as Jess is mentioning, ironing out those little kinks and already seeing the performance that they're able to put on stage, and to see that Bastarda continues to be fucking amazing at the Game Changer stage as well. Yeah, this is looking to be a very promising roster for 2023. Like, for a lot of the teams that actually didn't make it into the the champion stage yet, and they're like sitting there in the crowd and are like, this should be me, or like they're watching from home and be like, this should be me. Next year's competition is going to be fucking insane, which I'm really looking forward to, just based off watching these 8 teams play.
Yeah, and here we have to talk about something, you know, we're talking about the top 4 and we're all being happy and great. And this is where we're going with the remainders. And if you would have asked me, sure, we highlighted a great Team Liquid, we highlighted a young Shopify Rebellion. But when we go with all the remaining teams, I think there are a few clear ones where we would have said, you know what, Fennel, for example, was for me like, yeah, I think they're not going to make it too far. That's fine. What surprised me...
Still got a map, though.
Yes, I know. I agree. But what surprised me the most, and I'm going to go with you, Jess, because you can probably share that one, is what kind of got me furious is that the team that consistently was challenging G2 Gozen on a regional level again and again and again was bombing out so early. What in God's name happened with Guild X?
So a lot of people might not know these girls personally. I happen to luckily know a few of them personally on the roster, and let's just say it's a very emotionally charged team. So you got a team like G2 Gozen that always has a handle, you know, really strong handle on their emotions and how they react in game. And for a team like Guild X, they actually thrive off a lot of their emotions. It can be a lot of this momentum word that, you know, we're always bringing up the buzzword momentum. For them, that actually is like their fuel. So I pulled Anya aside afterwards and I said, look, what the fuck happens, you know, trying to sort of be a little bit more casual, maybe not, you know, was emotional about it. And she just looks at me, she goes, I knew before we started we weren't in the mood. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, everyone was in like, not in the good mood. And I was like, what is that? No one was like wanted to play. Like, what does that even mean? And she's like no one was like feeling it. Like, you know, you could just tell the mood was down before we even began. And I was like, you can't get yourself out of a rut. Like before you even start, you notice the vibes are down. I'm like, is there no leadership to like bring that back up? Is there not a possibility for you to overcome that? And so I think from that perspective, I hate to just bring it down to emotions, but for them, if that's their biggest, you know, hill that they have to overcome, they're going to have to do it damn quickly, because if they can play online like the way they do, whether it's at boot camp at home, you've seen them play time and time again, they obviously were able to do that. They come into LAN and everyone's like not feeling it, and so they bomb out. I mean, I don't know. It's not really the best excuse in my opinion.
That's so surprising, because I know that like Guild has Ed Chekara as their like head of performance, and he's fucking fantastic. So like, where's the pre-performance routine for these players? If that's a scenario that's happening for them, like Ed, come on, my man. I know that you can fix this shit.
I mean,
like hopefully they have access to him.
Is there? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's the immediate
I don't know if it's like
a
clear distinction between like the main circuit team and the Guild X roster, but like
he was there though.
Down that
I met him in the elevator.
For fuck's sake, man. Like if this is what's happening to this team, they need you.
I saw him in the elevator, so he was definitely there.
So he was definitely there.
Yeah, I mean
Well, then the girls need to be more honest. I think honesty is a
Exactly.
hard thing for players. They come in and they go, well, I can just give me a couple of rounds, I'll warm up. Like, if you're not feeling it before you jump in the server and something's feeling wrong and you feel like the vibes aren't meshing, I should say, with your other teammates, that's going to be very clear from the moment you sit down for warm up or you sit down to start the game, pissed or whatever, like people aren't calming as much or whatever. You notice it, you should already be calling this shit out, and that should be like an instant timeout kind of thing. So
Yeah.
you could do it. What did G2 do? They sang songs. I think they have this method where they sing songs together to break the ice and everything like that. Whatever your method is from a psychotherapy standpoint with your mental coach, you need to be doing it. And it didn't look like they had anything.
Yeah, good points.
So like I don't know the players personally like you do, Jess, but what it seems like is an issue with like just confidence and believing in yourself, because I feel like they were always number 2, and then once they finally beat G2, the entire world is nobody's saying fuck yes Guild X. The entire world is kind of saying like, well, G2 kind of just like gave that up, and G2 kind of just like let them win. So I feel like there was like that shadow of doubt always looming over them. And then you're in the lower bracket, and what was it? They lost to Shopify, so they lose, and then it's like, okay, here is like, fuck, are we that team? Like, are we the team that beat G2? Like, what's going on? They get a win, which is like a touch-up win because they're expected to beat Fennel, so it's not something that you're really like, nice, okay, we got our momentum back. And then they have to play a Cloud9 White where, sure, they just lost to G2, but it's a Cloud9 that everybody's like, oh, they got this shit. Like, Cloud9 in the lower bracket, they're fucking demons. Like, so I feel like just individual mental blocks of just not believing in themselves that, like, hey, we are those people, right? That we are them. We beat G2, like, we can beat everybody here because they just did not exist on the server that day. So it just seemed like personally they just felt like they lost. Like, they lost as soon as they sat down because they were, playing Cloud9 in an elimination game.
Yeah. So we're going a little further because we still want to wrap this up at one point, and we talk about the remaining teams, right? Which is still something we have worth mentioning, which is X10. Obviously, we have Fennel as well as Crew. Starting with you right there, Tenor. Just give me a little bit of get a feeling about those remaining teams that didn't make it that far in the tournament and what you thought about them.
Yeah. So Fennel, it's like it stinks. Love the girls. They had a lot of personality. I think everybody loved Fennel kind of across the board. It was to be expected. They played, what was it? They played 8 series coming into this one. They just didn't have a whole lot of life before this event. It was very, very little experience as a team in Valorant to come and play against. I think the average for everybody else was like 86 series played coming into this or something crazy. So I expected this. I don't think they underperformed. I thought they had some really cool moments. I thought Festival really stood out. I thought Sully stood out. For X10, I was incredibly impressed by Baby TZ and Muffin. That was kind of what I expected. I expected them to have some good games, but maybe not win the whole thing. I think Crew really underperformed. I think Crew had a lot of high expectations, and going out as early as they did, I think they were 7th, 8th as well with Fennel. I think everybody was expecting a little bit more from Crew, but I other than that, and other than Shopify, I feel like things kind of just like laid down like as expected.
Yeah. If I look back, I think Crew is probably the biggest disappointment, unfortunately.
Yeah.
If you're looking at from like a Crew's perspective, Crew fan, Crew player. I had Crew probably as like the dark horse going into this tournament after being so dominant in their region for like the longest time, but they didn't find the correct footing against Cloud9 White. I actually going into the Crew and X10 matchup, I don't know why, but I kind of predicted X10 to actually win the series just because after watching probably just watching like Ginny and Muffin overall play. And as you mentioned, Tanner BBTC, I was like, okay, there's actually hope in here. They actually do look pretty good. They have some sort of like good synergy where they're able to just adapt on the fly with the trades. Like when they play very slow, it gets very, very difficult for them to gain map control for X10.
Yeah.
But when they go for fast hits, excuse me, I'm losing my voice as well.
Take your time.
When it goes for fast hits, actually, and I mentioned it before, like the fundamentals that they have to be able to trade and space together, right, to be able to take over a site or to just go for pure duels and trades on those. I think they looked really good on those. That's why like they got a couple of rounds against G2 on Breeze where I looked at where they finally got a few rounds that looked like it was going to work out because they were playing quick. And then after that, they went to their defaults, and then it just got owned by G2 when G2 was playing defense, right? So I think a little bit of more of those mixing those things up from Ginny's calling would maybe help X10 maybe have a better showing into the next week. But you can't sleep on Fennel's potential. I think Festival definitely, as everybody mentioned before, she's fucking cracked. But Suzu's Omen on Icebox, I got to cast that game with fucking Hypoc, and I was like, what the fuck is going on with Suzu? She's TPing all over the fucking place and just fragging out. Like, there was Liquid had no answer whatsoever onto how Suzu was going to play an Omen on that map. And I love that they have even like aces under the sleeve of like, hey, we could pull out this comp. Nobody knows about us. Nobody knows this tape. And then pulling that out and still getting such a great victory against Team Liquid, on Icebox. It shows to me that if they actually work on that a little bit more, if they actually have like these one-off picks to surprise their opponents, they actually have a good system behind it to be able to do so. And I'm hoping to see a little bit more of that.
Wasn't
For sure.
Festival like the second highest rated player in the entire tournament? Like I know
Yeah,
obviously
so-
like
Possibly,
you got
yeah,
round
man,
count,
possibly.
like it's like
Was.
This
but
is the
Festival
craziness.
was
So
nasty, no?
Yeah.
I'm literally going to blend all three of your points together in like one succinct summary. Tanner's saying that like this team is insane, but they need a lot more time. Vansilli's saying, okay, if they bring in these like nuanced elements like this Omen, these like cool kitschy things that allow them to leverage their team's power, they'll do great. And just saying like, oh, Festival's insane. At this event, there was an absolutely dumb statistic.
Oh,
In the rounds where Festival was first killed, like didn't get the first kill, but was first death, they lost 86% of them.
Damn.
Their run at this event was a reflection of their lack of time together as a team. It was Festival go kill or we lose the round.
wow.
If you give them time to amend that issue, you end up with more of what Vansilli is talking about, and they become a star team. I have so much confidence in them doing better at the next event that we see them, and I'm hyped for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And can I also give
go
love
ahead.
to Fennel just for like literally changed the culture of everybody. Everybody's doing
Yeah, dude.
everybody's doing the fucking Fennel. Everybody's doing the fucking like
Yeah,
dude,
man, it
their
was fucking
ability to
sick.
dude, they kissed babies, they touched hearts and minds, man. That
Yeah,
team
man.
was they really do have it all. So I think like Japan is obviously a crazy region when it comes
Yeah.
to support just in general. So obviously Fennel has a lot behind that, but yeah, in this next year, they're going to continue to be like the #1 Game Changers team, I would assume. And I mean, they're going to blow the roof off of the places they play at, man.
And mind you, that Festival is also a Korean player playing under this roster. So when it comes down to communication as a 5, maybe that's why you have a Festival cool kill, because she can just do whatever the fuck she wants and goes to frag. But
Right.
sometimes in the heat of the moment, there's some stuff that she still can't call in Japanese, and she actually has to call it out in English. So at that point, it shows a little bit of a lack of chemistry in terms of unintentional, just because Festival still has to go through the Duolingo to be able to get her
Another
Japanese on
pluck.
point for future games. Yeah, exactly.
Good job. Good
Duolingo?
job. Until I have to.
Yeah,
I
no.
have to.
It looks like I
move on.
tied it full circle.
Ah, come
Just
on.
like that
Can you
fucking
just get
piece
off
of
the
shit
show?
you're wearing.
I hope this is the last show I'm doing. Either way, moving further, right? Moving further here. I have to talk. We have to talk about something, because besides all the great Valorant and amazing and shooting there has been something odd happening, and the good old flipping the one that we have seen before the break when Silly do in the double backwards version has obviously been something that has been a talking point towards the end. And before we talk about it, there has been a great Reddit thread about particularly that. We show the picture, and then we show you exactly what we're talking about. So just put in the picture. Come on, show the middle finger. Just show that middle finger, please. The middle. I need to see the middle finger first.
The middle
If we
finger
don't have a
heard around
picture,
the
if we don't
world.
have a picture, Vansilli does it for us.
Oh,
No.
Oh, it's
a
in slow
slow-mo
motion
There
too.
he
You
goes.
got to do my boy Rob Wiz like that,
slow
Daniel. You
mo.
got to do my
That-
fucking boy Rob Wiz like that, man.
And there he goes. There.
Let him know, Rob.
Close look. Moments before disaster. It's like
Yeah.
that is
Cut it,
that
Rob.
is for
Cut
the
it, Rob. Caught it. No.
No. It was even a
so
second.
quick.
It was just a second.
And
Yeah,
this
it was
is why we
insane.
had to slow-mo because it was so fucking quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we go there, now let's take a look at the Reddit thread because this is very important. The Reddit thread from I think it was Razor, a mod at Valorant Competitive, has summed it up. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, point 12 2.3. Discipline escalation. Okay, so this is a discipline escalation. The first team tracker warning. Fine. You know, it goes on and on and on. So technically, if this would be just a casual disciplinary thing, you would, and this is very important, you would have pretty much never someone being suspended. There's a timeout. There's a loss of map veto. There's a
What
map
if he did the
forfeit.
finger 8 times?
Yeah, we're going on. Okay, Jess, because it's not a casual penalty. It's even worse. It's a massive misconduct. But now here's the interesting part. Warning issued to team management. So this, by my, you know, if I just Google up, you know, 1 + 1 is 2. So he must have done 2 things horribly wrong to get a match suspension. So I mean, this is how I read it, right? This is how it looks like.
You're
in case
absolutely
this is-
correct. One flagrant
Either-
misconduct, 2 flagrant misconduct.
Yeah, it's either a lapse in policy or there was already a pre-existing occurrence of something going down
But why would
So-
they
Yeah,
say that?
we just don't know
Hold on.
about.
So hold
Okay.
on. So after the middle finger, I didn't see the middle finger originally, but when they were walking to high five, he did lean over and say something to Mel. I don't know what was said. I wanted to ask at the press conference, but I didn't want everybody to hate me. I didn't want to bring it up.
Just let anyone hate you. Yeah, go on.
I hope
And
it
then
was.
They
not
did the
something horrible.
Sue did the interview with, I believe his name is Leo. I apologize.
Yep.
Where he
Yep.
sat down
Head of
and
Esports. Yeah.
he'd I mean, the thing that sucks is like we were always in the dark, and like it's like we just kind of have to eat this shit. Where basically they said he did the middle finger thing, and then some other stuff happened backstage, and we will never know the other stuff that happened backstage.
Yeah, okay.
Which like
It's so
To
easy to
me,
say that though, Tanner.
it's so easy to say that.
Yeah.
It's so
I
easy
said
to say.
this
That's
to
what I'm
you in
saying.
Berlin. I said
Yeah.
when they put out the announcement, and it's always very carefully worded, it said that he had undertaken misconduct. There we go, the competitive ruling. And where do you go down? It goes on November 19th, immediately after the match between Shopify Rebellion and Cloud9 White, the coach, Rob Robwitz, made an offensive gesture on stage towards Cloud9. Consequently, as of Rule 7.1.2 of the global competition policy, guess what? They used the wrong policy. So not only are we fucking using the wrong policy to be the ones to provide this suspension, of which I don't know if we have that handy, but I guess the way in which they rule is different and the kind of consequences are different. It's maybe a more punitive approach. I doubt it, but I'm, go figure. And according to which coaches must observe. So if they are stating the exact behavior, the exact timing of it, why are they not saying that this is his second offense, or there was also an alternative or an alternate offense that occurred behind the stage as well, which goes against Rule 7.1.2?
They're missing
would
the
say
second
that.
paragraph. Yeah.
I don't know.
That was
I wish I could tell you.
that was the miss though. So there was something, and then they understood that for next time it should have been communicated about the first offense as well, which they didn't do. So once everything comes to be, in the heat of the moment with this coming out with what happened on stream, it's like, oh fuck. But then if we're gonna come out with the announcement then without any context of what happened in the first place on the first offense, then that's where we're all like fucking, all up in arms with everything that's going on right now. So I think they identified that was definitely a miss. That is going to be, better communicate in the future. And that said, I mean, I wasn't there being able to hear what Rob would whisper into Mel's ear, but they still had a great conversation in the end where back at the hotel having a conversation between him and Alexis, if I'm not mistaken, exactly that. I wonder who took that photo. I took that photo.
fuck
We're all at the after
off.
party
Silly.
chilling
It's
out.
not
Oh, God,
listen,
man.
it's not 2007
Oh, God,
Instagram
Vance.
where you're
Yeah.
going to text, haha, who took that great picture?
Oh,
It's
man.
come on, man. You're
No,
too
I
old
wanted
for this.
I wanted credit, man. I wanted the fucking
Okay.
clout from
Is
me.
someone at
photo credit
production-
Vansilli.
Can someone at production put like a copyright C and Vansilli in the right corner so he's happy?
But that's
Can we
it.
do
Everybody's fucking chill. And it
I
comes
think
outside of the competition, everybody just gets along in the end. It's the same thing when it comes
Yeah.
when it comes like the VCTs. Like I'm pretty sure Exit and fucking FPX are still fucking chilling at the hotel after the fucking turret bug. And everybody's like, just between players, don't really give a fuck, So.
Right.
Artists
Other
seemed
than artists.
Other than
fucking
artists,
mad.
yeah,
Artists.
That was like so.
But that's artists,
off-putting.
man. He's still coming to play North America. At some point, they're gonna hang out, So
True.
Yeah.
Okay. I told you I prepared something, and it's very simple. It's very easy. We need precise answers. Discussions only allowed if this is absolutely breaking your own idea about how the tournament was. So welcome to the Valoranting Game Changers Awards. I don't know if production prepared any graphics for that or not. I have no clue if they even prepared like little trophies. I don't know. But if they did,
Oh, that's great.
just-
More fireworks.
just-
Yeah.
just tell me if we have something.
P.
Yeah.
P.
We don't. That is
Ooh.
what is that? Is that P?
P.
That was
Yeah,
backwards.
there
It's
you
backwards.
That's
There
right.
you
You
go.
got there.
We got
I
there.
like
we
the
got
P
there.
backwards. It's real hip. It's cool. It's
Yeah,
kind of zoomer.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Edgy.
We're starting with MVP, and I mean general MVP. Vansilli, to me, you're on my left. Pardon. Please start. Who's your MVP?
So chamber with no chamber MVP.
No,
right?
this is the
No,
official
overall.
MVP, like
MVP.
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 Easiest answer of my life.
Tanner, who's your MVP?
Yeah, Flowerful is my MVP.
Thank you. Anders.
Petra, not close.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Petra or Giuliano.
Sorry, I'm
I'll
going
go
too
with
fast.
Petra.
Sorry, production.
There's this.
Giuliano?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. We go by order and then we discuss. Okay, Vansilli, who is your MVP? Did you finally make your mind up?
Yeah, Petra or Giuliano.
No.
It's
Petra.
it's not MVPs. It's MVP. It's singular.
Okay. Petra.
Thank you. My goodness. Man.
Or Giuliano.
Fuck.
Bruh.
I never want to work with you when you're jet lagged again. I swear to God. Anders.
I'm gonna hit you with one stat that makes this pretty much open and closed in my eyes. It's like, okay, so if you want to go by like impact rating, Petra was a top 5 player at the event from a support
Okay.
role, and she had get this. This is the stat that nobody has like paid attention to. She had a positive true first kill to first death ratio on every map the entire event.
Okay.
From a support role while being the 5th highest impact player at the event. Come on.
Fair play. Fair play. Yes. Give me your thoughts.
I believe that one of the most impactful utility players that tournament was Mimi.
In general,
So-
also in general, like not only utility,
Well, I mean,
everyone.
not just, but sitting there
Because
and
of
just
her
being like,
utility, yeah.
wow,
Okay.
they don't win that round without Mimi doing that. I think she's MVP.
Okay, so it seems like you fought this through because you're not going for Bob, who was on top of the scoreboard technically, or the stats. So I'm positively surprised. The problem is that I honestly, the second category doesn't even make sense anymore because I made a second MVP category who would have been the non-chamber MVP category.
Ooh.
So let's do it with chamber
Since
then.
Since
We're
I
too
chose a
fast
I
to
chamber.
said-
pick chambers.
I chose a chamber because I think Flowerful was the most consistent player for like the entire
Yeah, she
tournament.
was,
But
yeah.
Mimi is my non-chamber MVP. That was
Okay.
gonna be my non-chamber MVP.
Okay, but I was originally asking for your. So we just go on. You know, I can't even be bothered.
Yeah,
What was your
hey,
biggest? What
guy wears
what
a
was your
fucking
biggest
tie, but
surprise?
we still can't take
Yeah,
him
come on, shut the
seriously.
fuck up. Okay, listen, Jess, we're starting with you. Biggest surprise individually throughout this tournament. Who surprised
Oh.
you the most?
I don't feel like I can pick someone like I didn't know. Like I
You
have
have
not.
to.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. I would say the player that pleasantly surprised me the most was Sonda.
Fair.
I'll go with
yeah.
Sonda. Yeah.
Good pick.
I'd say
good pick.
if you had to pick one player that was like probably exceeded expectations, that was Sonda for me. Yep.
It's Sondering
Okay.
time for show.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Sondering time.
I think we can all agree with that. Some of the clips and some of the stuff she did.
Yeah.
That most definitely. Anders, going on with you. Who do you pick?
My knee jerk was Sonder because like I knew she was good, but like damn,
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
fucking insane. But
Yeah.
just to mix things up, I'm gonna go with Festival.
Yeah.
I wanted to mix
Okay.
things up with festival. So
Okay.
skip
Right.
me. Go to Tanner. I already picked
Yeah,
festival. as well.
I would have picked Tanner first anyway. Tanner.
Flowerful.
Oh my God, bro.
Flowerful.
I'm messaging her right
Holy shit,
now.
hang on.
Can you please follow
Listen.
Tanner on Twitter? He
Listen.
really,
No,
really
listen.
sent it.
Yeah, tier 3. I am a fucking Flowerful tier 3 sub. I've got all of her merch. Guys, dude, Flowerful. She played so consistent, dude, against the best teams in the world. They lost 13-5 on Breeze, and she went 22-12 or something, dude. Like, dude, who expected that?
Yeah.
Who
no, you're right.
expected that?
You're right. You're right.
I will
Yeah, point.
also honorary mention to another chamber player in Mary, who
Yeah,
at
obviously.
16 years old, I was not sure how well she would. I didn't know she's gonna go that fucking hard, and she did for the entire.
Yeah, sure. How come
tournament.
nobody talked about Mary? Holy fuck.
Yeah, I was asking the same. I was asking myself the same. Why none
It's
of you
hard
picked
because
an
we
MVP?
expected it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, you know, you have the expectation, and then she meets it, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
sweet. Like,
Yeah.
Here's my
Yeah, true,
toxic
true.
take.
my
She's a
toxic
chamber player,
take.
and she did her job.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
she's a phenomenal player. Like, I don't want to take that away, but like, she did her job.
Yep. She
Mhm.
did it well.
Fair,
She did a
fair,
job.
fair.
In a good way, yeah.
Yeah, like she did her job, and she did it great. But like, that's not exemplar, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Vansilli, who do you got for me? Vansilli, what is on your mind? Who do you?
No, I already
who do
had
you
festival.
pick?
I wasn't kidding. I think festival is definitely
All right.
definitely popped off.
Okay. So next up, I got the category of biggest disappointment. And this doesn't have to be individual. This doesn't have to, we're brutal here. Come on.
Oh.
Yeah, it is toxic, but
this
come on.
is
This is
brutal.
how
I have
sport
one,
is.
I have one.
This is
I'll
how
start,
sport
I'll
is.
start.
This is how
Oh,
sport
you
is.
got
I'll
one
start.
already?
If you say my
I
tie,
got one. I got
if you
one.
say
Before
my
Vance goes, I
tie,
know what he's gonna say, and I need
It's
to
not
take it
the tie.
first. No.
It's not the
Okay.
tie. It's not the tie.
What is it, Vansilli?
It's the fucking tie, dude. No, it's the ruling given to Rob Wiz
Oh.
to be suspended in the
Oh.
grand finals. I actually
Okay,
do want to
respect
know
that.
what this finals was going to be if Rob Wiz was able to be in the back, like sitting behind the players. That at these timeouts, he's usually the one that's able to like calm the nerves, figure out the game plan or whatnot. There's KP has so much to do in terms of figuring out what the next strategy is going to
Yeah.
be. That if you do have somebody like Rob Wiz that's able to go through and calm the nerves of the player, like not only that, it's not only him sitting behind the coach desk, but it's also he wasn't able to talk to the players between maps either. So he came to the venue and was sitting in a fucking jail where he couldn't come into contact with any of the players until the end of the
I had
series.
no idea about that. That
Yeah,
is
so there's
some
no pep
very
talk or
important
anything
information.
whatsoever. Exactly. So there was
I
no
just
pep talk or
figured,
anything
I
whatsoever
just
from
figured
Rob
he
Wiz.
would he'd like G them up, give them the sheets in between maps, and then they'd go do their thing. Like, you know what I mean? I had no fucking. Oh, well, that changes my perception. 44.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm plus one-ing your.
Okay,
Yeah,
plus
yeah,
21.
yeah.
Tanner, what do you got?
Wait, did Anderzz go? I need Anderzz to go. I need.
Anderzz, you have to go.
I'm
now.
gonna
I
do
need some
this,
time.
and I hate to actually
Oh, no.
select players / a team, but I'm gonna go with crew. Not because I think they
Ooh.
perform, like not because I want to target them individually, but like I had such high expectations, and then it was just like, come on, it just missed the
Understandable.
mark for me. Like,
Fair, fair.
I'm sure that they feel the same way. That's the only reason
Mhm.
I'm comfortable.
Of course,
doing
of
it, is,
course,
like,
of course.
I'm not saying anything that the players don't feel themselves.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Tanner, what do you got?
All right. Well, I tried to get it all set up, and if you guys would like, I can go ahead and link it in the chat, so that way you guys know exactly what's going on,
Okay.
because this is very last minute. I'm actually waiting for this clip to publish. This is very last minute.
Very last. Oh my! I'm really
Okay.
worried that it's gonna be horrible.
I couldn't get it set up with Daniel in time, so Daniel, I appreciate you trying. Thank you so much. As for
All right, so
Zescht
kill
and
noise while
Jess,
we go.
and-
Kill time while we go. How do you kill the time? Go ahead. The
You
floor is
cannot-
yours.
You cannot, you cannot
the whole
set it
time.
up. You can't set up the
Zescht.
sound.
Okay, here
Yeah?
we go. Oh no, I can't type in the chat. Okay, Zescht, Jess, Anderzz, you guys have all been wonderful. Okay, my thing is getting started out, and I can't post links in the do not peek chat, unfortunately. My biggest disappointment, is 2 boxes over to the right. And silly, I'm looking at you,
Oh.
buddy.
Wait, that's to the left if you're looking at the stream.
Well, okay, to my right, stage right.
What is happening?
Silly?
Do I need to step back? I'm just. Oh.
Yeah, everybody stand up so
Vansilli?
we can actually see what
no.
Tanner's. what
This is
Zescht
what
is
it-
wearing too. Everybody stand up
The
and walk away.
Vansilli, after Shopify,
Ooh, I remember
won
that
map
part.
number 2.
Oh no!
He went into the crowd and he interviewed Saunders' mom. And at the end of the interview, he said, "It looks
say?
like it's going to be an NA victory. Back to you." And sent it back to the desk. And
Oh,
fucking Shopify got
no.
reversed swept after that.
Breaking
got
original
fucking-
reason why Shopify lost.
Got reverse swept because Vansilli fucking caster cursed. That right there, the biggest disappointment, Vans. NA had their faith in you, and you went out there and you cursed us.
Gee.
How can I hate that? How can I hate that smile? All right, that is an entire year banned from the show from you. You're not coming back here. Either way. Okay, those has been all the awards. I have no further awards to be given away. So I think this is the point in time where I want to thank you, Jess, and I want to thank you, Anderzz, for coming over and for joining us today to take a look at a little bit of Game Changers. Thank you very much. Awesome. See you guys next time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for your
Bye-bye.
time.
Than's, friends.
All right.
Awesome.
Good.
Always awesome
Now-
to have those guys on.
Now it's a disappointment in us, Tanner. So here's the news, right? Here's the deal. Here's the thing. I dressed up like this for a particular reason, and I think usually when do you dress up like this? You dress up like this when something special happens, when something less special happens, all those things, right? And today we have to say that just like all great things in life, some things come to a little break. Not to an end. An end is a little harsh. It's a harsh word. But we're taking a little break. A hiatus, you're finding yourself, basically you need to see Valoranting is taking like a 3-year kind of vacation on Bali, finding themselves. And it might come back, it might come back. Maybe it's opening up a surfboard shop in Bali. I don't know. Something along those lines. The bottom line is, if you didn't understand what I'm trying to say.
Surf shop in Bali?
Yeah, it was a metaphor. You don't get it? Okay. Okay, this is what a lot of European students, that they take 1 year abroad after they've done with their high school. No?
Nah, we don't have that privilege. We don't have that money. We don't have that money for that shit, bro.
Okay.
Well, if you're living fucking Zescht, I guess that's why you can wear a tie wherever the fuck you want, especially on just a 2-hour podcast.
Right. To finalize it, and what I actually wanted to say, Vansilli, is that we're going in a little break and we'll be back another time. So I leave this and starting with you, Tanner, to any final words to all the people out there, or also Vansilli, if you want to.
Well, Tanner could start.
I said Tanner should start. I said, listen, those were my words, Vansilli.
Yeah. Yeah, Mo in the chat said it. Pull one out. It's unfortunate that I love working with everybody on this show, everybody at Do Not Peek. I had the pleasure of actually going down to the office and meeting everybody over there the other day before I headed out to Berlin. And they're one of the reasons why I was able to make it out to Berlin. So I couldn't be more thankful for, the crew, everybody behind the scenes, everybody being so willing. Even Zescht, you came on the show and you just started rearranging everything, and they were just so okay with that. They're like, this is what we want. We want somebody who's going to take charge and make the show their own.
Yeah.
But
can rearrange a show, but not rearrange a tie.
Well, it's actually been rearranged.
Look.
Yeah, there you go. It actually looks better now.
Thank you. So you can have a good ending. Until it's down to you. What do you want to say?
Actually, first and foremost, super fucking awesome to be able to work with you, Zescht and Tanner. Since you've been the latest additions to the show, you guys have been fucking awesome, and I'm hoping that we'll get greener pastures for you guys in the Valorant scene. I think you're amazing casters, amazing hosts, amazing analysts too. So I'm wishing all the best for you guys. This show couldn't be done, of course, without everybody behind and involved at Do Not Peek Entertainment. So Daniel, Ian, excellent fucking producers. Awesome to have those guys around.
Yeah.
Super cool peeps. Of course, working in the back end, we have Typho, amongst others. Uber Chain with the graphics. Source Scoots and Alchemist working hard around the clock to try to find ways to keep the show alive, but unfortunately, it didn't work out. And everybody else that made it before me in terms of hosting, right? So Uber Shouts, Mitchman, fucking Lauren, WTF Moses, Veli. I know I'm missing a few, and I apologize, but also every single person that took the time to take like an hour of their day to come hang out with us and do these interviews live, from players to Riot people, and especially to you guys actually in the chat, listening right now, watching on YouTube, chatting in the chat right now. It's been fucking super fun to interact with all of you guys, and hopefully this comes back, man. Hopefully this comes back, but we'll take that break. We'll see what happens. Maybe the day that Zescht could actually tie a tie, we'll be able to find some people to support us in the show, and then we'll do more Valoranting then.
We'll figure out, my friend. We'll figure out. But you know what? Till then, thanks to every single guest, every single participant. Vansilli for your absolutely abysmal jokes and your horrible style choices. Tanner, for your positivity and good input. And obviously everyone behind the scenes. Before I'm gonna end this, right? Just making sure we have to get the right. We have to write it on the lowest note possible. Vansilli, anything you have to say in terms of roasting that you have left in the tank? It's your chance, final chance. Any good roast? If you save the roast your entire life. There you go. Simple, classic, and gets you an entire match banned. Thank you very much for tuning in and coming over to Valoranting. For everyone coming in the entire time, for every single viewer who subscribed, joined, just chat something. Thank you very much. We're going to be back at one other point when we have opened our little surf shop in Bali. Until then, see you guys next time.
I'm going to open poutine there in our surf shop. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.